gentlemen, welcome to another Tandem series. Today we're going to get into a well-renowned, well-received fragrance house by the name of Ormonde Jayne. She introduced a line of fragrances that really focused on the Middle East and Asia specifically to bring forth a new essence of her basic British heritage and elevate not only her brand but also bring forth her commanding presence in the region. She also did a great collaboration with a couple perfumers that I must say have gone off quite well. I have two particular fragrances from that line that I've enjoyed, sampled, and just fallen in love with. And I also want to talk to you guys about the Tabernacle Connecticut Broadleaf David. This is a cigar that I picked up this past week, and I must say I'm thoroughly enjoying what this cigar has to bring in its flavor profile. If this sounds like the type of content you think you'll enjoy, pull up a seat, pour a glass, and of course, let's enhance. Cheers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dry Down, the lifestyle channel where we as enthusiasts aspire to enhance and elevate our olfactive sensory experiences through the understanding of the different aromas, facets, and nuance of scent, cigars, and wines. I'm your host, Chris. Welcome to today's experience. We're going to get into a brand that we all know and have heard of, at least in the community of fragrances. This is the House of Ormonde Jayne, who introduced a line of Asian-inspired fragrances this past, I think a year or so ago, she did this particular line. And also, we're going to talk about the David cigar, which is a collaboration, not a collaboration, but a duo in the way that the Foundation Cigar brand came up with David and Goliath. First off, I'll just introduce you guys. I'm drinking on, having a great mid-afternoon with Josh Cellars Cabernet Sauvignon. This is a great, I wouldn't say budget wine. It's in the $15 to $20 wine mark. It's one as a Cabernet Sauvignon that goes off great, in my honest opinion, as a everyday wine. It's a wine that has a lot of rich fruits, earthy appeal to it, quite dusty in my opinion. The tannins are, on this particular wine, the tannins are what makes it appealing to me. They have a slight minerality and earthy note to the actual tannins of this particular wine for me, and the aromas that come off it, you get a lot of plum, red berry, as I stated, earthy notes. You get a lot of the cask in this particular wine, so it's a very, for the price point, this is one that I would recommend for people to go in and fall in love with Cabernet Sauvignon, but they don't want to spend the $60, $70 on every bottle that they get. Josh Cellars is in everyone's region of America at least, and you can grab this for a nice price of $15 to $20. You get a little hint of cinnamon and nutmeg in this as well. Woody, sweet, slight acidity, very slight acidity, but mostly a tannin-rich, earthy, sweet fruit forward, raspberries, blackberries, plum, currant, a little bit of currant there, a little bit of bite to the taste. A nice wine to have in the afternoon. That is the Josh Cellars Cabernet Sauvignon. So first off, we're going to talk about the fragrances from Ormonde Jayne, getting to this scent profile. Now, Ormonde Jayne introduced two fragrances from the line. This one here is my favorite from the line. It is the most complete, just the complexities on this one are phenomenal. This is a very romantic fragrance from the Middle East. It's honeyed, it's complex, it's smooth, it's bold. It has this very unique mid note called harbour, which is what I'm told is a introduction to fragrances that goes in the gourmand realm. It doesn't have a gourmand feel to this particular scent, but it's not one that is so foodie that it leans to a point where you can't have any versatility to it. It has a very versatile feel for a Middle Eastern fragrance that has gourmand touches in it, such as dates and halva. Now, I'm told that the halva is a spread or some type of cream spread that has a very sweet texture to it. I've never had halva before, but I understand that you can pick that up in this actual superior scent that I am falling in love with from Ormonde Jayne. And what you pick up mostly, smelling it off the nose of the atomizer. Smelling it on the skin, it's a very, very evolving scent, which I love about Ormonde Jayne. She makes some very complex fragrances. This one here, it opens with the date accord, goes into a very, very romantic cinnamon saffron in the first 15 minutes of this particular fragrance, and those, each accord from the opening stays throughout the entire longevity of the scent, which is, I would say, about throughout the scent profile wise, it stays in at about 15% of the underneath smell, the base. It goes into a mid of a Rose Absolute that she did a great job picking out. I don't know if it's Bulgarian. I don't know if it's not Taif because it's not that spicy, water-esque type of rose. It's a very thick, it's either Bulgarian, Damask, or something like that. It has a very sweet tone to it, going into that gourmand feel. So if you're a fan of things like Oud Satin Mood, and you want that to be slightly more spicy, slightly more masculine, this is one that I think you guys would love to get your nose on. A lot of incense in this particular scent as well. This has frankincense and olibanum in it. It has an oud accord in it as well. So as one, I never conjured the thought to put them in two categories as the same, but Oud Satin Mood and this one, if people think that Oud Satin Mood at this particular journey for them is too feminine, this is one I think you can get your nose on, coming in at a great price point for what it does on the skin. It's very sweet, oriental, smoky, spicy, and creamy. I very much so thoroughly enjoy this scent because it's one that evolves over a 4 to 5 hour period. Then it stays at that evolution to about 7 to 8 hours on the skin, projecting quite nicely. It's one that you can wear to a soiree, one that you can wear to a party, one that you can wear in a lounge setting. Very, very incensey, sweet, rosy. It has a little bit of oak moss in it, so it gives it a woody, clean base. The oud in this it smells like the oud. I don't know how many people have got their nose on Black Gold. Black Gold is one of their most sought after fragrances. It has a little bit of the oud that is in Black Gold. I'm very much so enjoying what she did with Muscat. That is from Ormonde Jayne, the first iteration of what I want to show you for this classic British house that has stepped into her and put her foothold into Middle Eastern fragrances. The next one, which is, I say that Muscat, and by a smudge, I would say, Muscat is the favorite of these two. But what she's done with Xandria, I don't think that a lot of people have gotten their nose on this particular brand from Ormonde Jayne, because if people have gotten their nose on this brand, they've noticed what Xandria has to offer. I think a lot more people would be clamoring to get this particular scent. The only reason, I will say this as a caveat, the only reason that this is not my favorite from the two is because the familiarity of this particular scent, while being its own characteristics, the familiarity of this is one that won't let me allow it to be the top dog in this particular two-piece combo. What this conjures up is, if Xerjoff made a fourth Alexandria fragrance, this would be it, and this would be in the top 2 of those 4. Xandria is a very rich, spicy, woody oriental fragrance that is very dusty, it's earthy, very, very, very sensual, spicy, honeyed spice type of fragrance. It has a lot of Ceylon cinnamon, and Ceylon cinnamon is one of the most precious of all spice accords that you can put in your fragrance. It opens up with an apple and rosewood with a rum accord. So just imagine that bright yet subdued, boozy opening that is very, very, very seductive in the opening. It goes into that twist of a heart with the Ceylon cinnamon, also with a sweet tonka inside of it. So that goes to that honey accord, or that honeyed feel, that thick, rich molasses honey feel of this particular fragrance, while still staying dusty. It goes, after about an hour on the skin, it goes into this really, really just opulent and elaborate feel, because it starts to go into an oud and musk accord that is slight minerally from an earthy accord, and then it goes with a guaiac wood that is that smoky, sweet, warming guaiac wood. This is one, as I stated, of the two. Now, I won't give any of these any knocks. I would actually, in a judging of these particular fragrances for not only price point, access, smell, and longevity and performance, I would give both of these fragrances a 9 out of 10. They really don't have anything wrong with them, especially if they are your type of fragrance that you enjoy. I would give them 10 out of 10. These are some spicy, sweet, warm, seductive, very, very elevated Middle Eastern scents. This one here, like I stated though, this is, if you have Alexandria and you enjoy what Alexandria 2 does in the Xerjoff line, you will fall in love with this particular scent as well. It has the same exact character in every way possible, except it does not have the lavender accord. I do understand that many people do not enjoy the lavender accord in that particular scent. So if that's one that throws you off from Alexandria, this one here, Xandria, is one to think about getting your nose on. Very, very sweet, warming, like I said, oriental, woody, just a sensual style of fragrance that I think Ormonde Jayne hit it out of the park. And I think everyone should get their nose on this particular, the 2. I've tried all, well at this point, there were 5 or 6. I tried all 5 of them. The 2 that I bought were here, Muscat and Xandria, and I'm very much so thoroughly enjoying these particular scents. Xandria was my scent of the day yesterday. Muscat is my scent of the day today. And as you can see, these are not fragrances that I am shy about wearing. They've been in my collection about 1.5 years, and the Xandria has a very big dent in it. And Muscat is one, I wear it alongside a clean accord of Provençal lavender. I put a drop of lavender on my wrist and I put this on and I'm good to go for the next 8 hours with a great, great smelling fragrance and a sillage that is a mile long. Very much so. I think Ormonde Jayne did a great job with these 2, and I think everyone should get your nose on. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the cigar memoir. Now, usually what I'll do is I'll smoke 3 cigars to give you guys a thorough review of what it is I taste in a cigar. I'm not one, I really don't enjoy smoking a cigar one time and trying to give you what I get in the nuance of it. I think that's feasible, but I think for me, as someone who tries to connect to the cigars they smoke through moments and through taste profiles and all of the things that come with that, the facets and nuances, I want to give the cigars a chance to either impress me or not. And in this one here, this is the 3rd one. I didn't need to smoke 3 of them. I'm impressed. This is the Tabernacle David by Foundation Cigar. The band is one of the best bands I've ever seen. This is like one of the coolest looking cigar bands I've ever seen. I must admit that. This is done by Tabacalera AJ Fernandez. This is a wrapper done with a Connecticut broadleaf out of the USA, of course. It has a Mexican San Andreas binder and a Honduran and Nicaraguan filler. The overall length of the cigar is 5 inches with a ring gauge of 54. The vitola on this particular cigar is a Perfecto, very short, almost, I wouldn't say a stubby cigar, but it's a very, the Perfecto end is so long it makes the cigar look quite short, but it is not. It smokes in a great time period of about 1 hour and 15 minutes. Maybe, depending on how you draw, it could be between 50 and 75 minutes. The MSRP on these particular cigars is $12 with a box totaling 25 to equal $300. It's a regular production cigar. And for me, the second one that I smoked told me that I can go ahead and give this particular review, and I'm going to enjoy this one today with my Cellars wine. This here for me, it has the, on the cold draw and off the leaf, it has that distinctive Connecticut broadleaf taste and feel and nuance. To me, Connecticut broadleaf comes off cacao, slightly musky, just heavy in tobacco essence, heavy in the feel of barn nuances. So it has that rich soil feel, rich soil taste, rich soil smoke profile, and it's so intriguing. When I first cut, lit, and smoked this particular cigar, I was apt to always have a companion pairing with my cigars: coffee, whiskey, wine, coffee, or espresso. This one, the first one, I did not have the opportunity to actually collaborate with any other thing, so I was enjoying this in a day where I was concentrating, and I not only had my chance to get the actual taste profile and nuances of the cigar, but it was the only thing I had to focus on, so it really gave me a true essence of what this particular cigar had to offer. And for me, the David Foundation Cigar David Tabernacle is a savory, sweet, peppery, slightly green nuanced cigar stick, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would give this particular cigar like a 91 to 93 rating from my particular taste profile. Now, the other thing about this, with that Perfecto end being so long, I was not able to actually conjure a way to break this into thirds. So I want to give it a comparison of two halves, basically. The first, once you cut, light, and smoke the first half of this particular cigar, you get a lot of the Connecticut Broadleaf. It's the predominant taste profile, smoky, barnyard taste profile comes off, milky, chocolate, dark chocolate taste, chocolate nibs. This thick billowing smoke off the first half of this particular cigar was one that I could do some of my parlor tricks with, which I enjoy sometimes doing, which is blowing the heavy O's out of your mouth. Many people don't know what that is. And then the best tasting profile of this came in at the 30-35 minute mark of smoking this particular cigar, which was the second half, where it just started to breach the large band. And that started to bring up these white and red and black peppercorn taste for me, a slight green nuance of almost like a bell pepper, and it started to give this effect of just all of the Honduran and Nicaraguan fillers coming in and giving me a taste profile that was very, very complex. It was thoroughly just rich flavors coming on every single piece, every single profile. Through the retrohale with a different profile of dark chocolate. I got a little bit of raisin in this particular scent. No leather, no hay tones, none of the actual things that would kind of connect with the Connecticut Broadleaf. And I will just give that to the Xandria Mexican filler, which gives a slightly different nuance when it comes to fruity tones, like the raisins, the dried apricots, the dried fruits, and stuff like that. This one to me was one of the better tasting, and I'm going to say one of my new go-to cigars just to smoke and have a pleasant day with, because of the actual, not only just the coolness of the particular cigar vitola and the band, but how well it's smoked and the richness of the taste of it. Now, I will say this as a caveat. I'm a person who likes savory taste, and that is one thing that this cigar gave a lot of attention to. The blenders of this particular cigar gave a lot of attention to giving savory, selenic taste to this particular cigar. So you will get a little bit, if you're familiar with perfumes, and I'm hoping you're watching this channel to understand the perfume nuances and stuff like that, you will get a little bit of what a resinous ambergris type of scent profile will give you. It's that slightly selenic, spicy, dusty, sweet, warm feel. And this to me, like I stated, for a $12 cigar and wrapped in filler and binder with 4 different types of tobaccos, the blender did a great job with this particular cigar, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it and want to recommend it to everyone. Like I stated, this is between the 91 to 93 points, a great cigar, 60 minutes to smoke, taste profile was immaculate, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. That is the David. In the other cigars, the Goliath, I think it's a 58 ring gauge, the same length vitola, same roll, just a little bit thicker ring gauge. But overall, this was a great cigar for me to smoke and enjoy it, and I thoroughly did so. So hats off to Foundation Cigar for making a great cigar for 200 bucks. Again, the David. Everyone, that is my content for you guys today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this particular cigar memoir and scent profile. This is one I really wanted to introduce you guys not only to this vitola and this cigar of David Tabernacle, but these two fragrances from the House of Ormonde are really impressive fragrances that I hope that all of you get your chance to get your nose on. I know that the Ormonde fragrances are something that's in the community. It's kind of like that midpoint of reaching beyond designer, going into niche. Quite frankly, I enjoy what what fragrances Ormonde has to offer. And I always, when I see fragrances come from them, I am intrigued by what they are and if I should get my nose on them. And often when I do, they are fragrances that are rich, powerful, well established, well designed, and great perfumers put out these products. So if any of you guys are into this particular scent profile, which is the sweet, warm, dusty, honey cocooning style of Middle Eastern fragrances, I suggest you get your nose on Muscat and Xandria. Once again, this is my content for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, all that I ask that you do, if you did, hit the like button, subscribe, share this content with a friend if anyone's into Middle Eastern fragrances and or tobacco through the leaf, going through cigar smoking, just introduce this channel to your friends and family. I'd appreciate it. Again, you guys have a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.